Hey, don't get anxious, get prepared. Your career engineer right here. And today we're going to talk about should you gap or not? Like what you do a gap, like should it be on your LinkedIn profile? Should your gap be shouted out in that resume? Like how do we handle the gap moments in our life? And some of us have had some gapping in the last, I don't know, 2.5 years or more. So get your pen, get your paper. You know how we do it. We're going to take some notes, take your comments live or later, and I don't know, let's get busy with it. Yeah, let's get busy with this. Our focus today, those gaps that some of us have had or may have. Let me fix my camera just a little bit. There we go. For pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, you're getting ready to gap something after the pandemic, whatever. What should we do and how should we handle those on our profiles, but also on our other spaces and places, right? So we can get the best bang for everything. So remember, don't get anxious, get prepared. Your career engineer right here. And I'm looking forward to all your questions or comments. Of course, if you're catching us in real time, we love it if you just put your comments, your questions in the comments. Make sure you subscribe and follow and don't miss a broadcast on whichever platform you're catching us with today. And again, we want to be a blessing to you in your career, life, and business. So make sure you follow us all the time. TCEnow.com, TCEnow.com. Let me get that right so you can find us on socials and be a part of all that we're doing. If you haven't got it yet, sign up for our TCE Career Business Weekly every Friday, directly in your inbox every Friday. I mean, come on, it's free. So come ahead, be a part of it. And don't forget, you can share this broadcast with others. And again, we love your comments. Actually, some of you who are asking me some comments and sharing some concerns in your career, life, and business, some of those are really good questions. And I like to put them on TV or in my blog. And what's up? Hey, I see you, Miss Tressa. Thanks for being here again. Feel free to share this live broadcast. Yes. And those who know me in my other world, yes, I am here. I am still standing. It's been an interesting week, but faith is good and we are still here. Thank you all for your prayers and thoughts. We've been through a couple of things these last weeks, but I digress. Let me get back on tap about these career gaps. How do we handle them? LinkedIn is coming out with a new feature. You guys know, I kind of like that LinkedIn profile, but they're coming out with a feature where there's some conversations about should you put your gaps on your profiles. And LinkedIn isn't the only one. There are other profiles that are highlighting your talent and your business and all kinds of things. But should you put those there? Like, how should you handle that in this new way of doing business? So I'm gonna give you my take on it because I don't know if I'm there, but I want to give you all the facts and you make your decision. So here's the deal: resume or profile, where should the gaps be? If you've taken some time off or you're just in one of those places and spaces with the great reshuffle, the great reset, the great resignation. Okay. So for me, let me just share this. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Someone texted me. Oops, but you know what? You can't text me while I'm doing a live show. You can, it just will be on the thing, but it's all good. So listen, profiles need to be accurately and creatively maximize your corporate pause. So what do I mean by that? So those of you who have these profiles, right, on LinkedIn or other spaces, when's the last time you've updated those things? I mean, are they up to date? Are they current? Are they accurate? Like, do you still have your old job up there? You've been gone a year, things of that nature. So even though we're talking about gaps, I'm talking to y'all about current stuff. If you haven't visited your profile, please make sure it's current, and then it can creatively maximize your gap because folks do have them. And there's ways that on your profile that you can have that the same way. Like, for example, if any of you look at my profile, I know it's kind of out there, but I've shared things I've done in the non-business world on my profile as jobs, some volunteer things I've done if I've been on boards and things of that nature. And when people are looking at the dates, you can kind of sort of tell I got a lot going on in my space, right? I have a lot going on, but your profiles, I want to challenge those of you who show up to LinkedIn or any other profile that's supposed to be promoting you so someone can pay you for services. If they're old, out of date, and not accurately showing who you are, do something about it quick, okay? Is what I believe. Do something about that quick. And there's a lot of folks that's really there. Thank you. Yeah, good idea. It's a really big idea, particularly for the workforce is shifting and those profiles really matter. So, in my opinion, as your humble neighborhood friendly career engineer, I'm not filling the gaps just totally being like, here's my gap. I didn't work from January 1 to December 30 on a LinkedIn profile. I mean, you're just really putting it out there. I feel, I feel that your interview, okay, and again, how you put your brand together is probably the best place to discuss gaps. Some folks have taken a pause to get education. Some folks have taken a pause to, take care of things. Some folks have taken a pause because they got it like that, right? But there's ways that you can discuss or showcase that gap space and perhaps some things you have learned along the way during your gap space, as what I call you being, let's say, the CEO of you incorporated, or CEO of me incorporated, I like to say too. But there's a way strategically that the gap can be explained. And I like it when we're having a conversation about it. I also like it in the resume because yes, companies still view them. They're not going away. I know there's chatter that people think they are, but they're not. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, okay. Maybe in the metaverse is a different space, but it ain't going away yet. I mean, trust me on this. So there's ways that if you do have a 5-year gap or a 2-year gap on those resumes so you can get the meeting, that it's done creatively so that people can still see who you are and what you bring and not what you don't. So let me get back to how I think the CEO of you incorporated is so important, having that mindset. When you are let's say there's people who you've had gaps, let's say pre-pandemic, you had parents who, or workers who took care. I can't talk this morning. I guess I'm a little off, right? Took care of a loved one, right? Whether it's a young person or an older person. Maybe some folks had to take some time off due to health or reasons or things like that. Maybe there was a significant family shift that folks had to take some time to think about things. So if you, as the CEO of the home, or you had to make a critical decision about, sustainable or conscious decision to reset some things at home, there are ways that you doing that and making sure you think it through, that they can be a benefit. You can showcase personal skills or other things you have done during that reset, because let's just face it. Now, if you just took a gap to sit home on the couch and watch, I don't know, Netflix all day for 6 months, I'm not talking to you. I don't know what I can do about that. That's not a good idea. But most of us who have taken a reset or a time off or a gap may have done it for a particular reason. And there's ways that you can really showcase what you've done. Again, look at those words, sustainable and conscious, that you really thought this thing through. Because the strategic gap, and that's the key here. If you are going to take a gap, it has to make sense. It's got to be strategic, not just, I just don't want to work right now because I just want to figure out what color hat I'm going to wear for the next 6 months. That ain't happening. That's not what I'm talking about. But sometimes we have to make some tough decisions about things, and that's okay. So, but if you do have a strategic gap, hey, I need to get some more training. I'm going to take 2 years off from work to go become a certified this or that, or finish my degree, or I'm going to do something that's going to really impact my future. Those gaps can be, again, that place to gain some valuable skills. Remember, knowledge, skill, and ability, performance, accomplishments, leadership. If you have a gap that's going to take care of that, then think about that. That might be a way to strategically really broadcast how awesome you are, even though you did a reset. Okay. And here's my piece on gaps. I know prior to the pandemic, it was never a good idea to have like big chunks of gaps in your workspace. Like, people are asking, well, what have you done with yourself all this time? Or why did you step away? Or why did you have to sit this out? And folks were always a little anxious about how to hit that question, right? I'm saying not so much anymore. And even prior to that, I would teach my clients, don't be anxious about it. If you had a good reason for the gap, there's ways we can maximize that when we get back into the workforce. But today, there's a little bit more amnesty about it. So I'm seeing now, like, how people, if I was to tell you all, like, if I was 19 or 18, I'm like, I'm going to take a gap year to go to so I can grow and mature, so I can go to college. right? Or travel Europe. Everybody goes, oh, that's okay. That's good. Takes two, to figure out who you are as you travel to Europe before you go to Yale, right? So that's totally acceptable. Like everyone's like, oh, that's cool. But then if someone does it because they got to take care of an elderly parent, or they have to take care of another family member, or they decide to make a significant career change, folks kind of had their eyebrows raised. So my point is, I think the gap space, if it's done the right way, can showcase almost being the same family as this whole I'm going to go to Europe for a year so I can figure out who I am. I'm not being sarcastic, y'all. I didn't get a chance to do that. So those y'all who can do it, I think that means when, go with it. But the rest of us, we can't afford to take a year off like that. Make sure your gap is strategic, and there's ways again that you can. It's more embraced that now than I think it was before, if it's done the right way. Okay, if it's done the right way. So what is my bottom line? Here's my bottom line. Y'all know I always got a bottom line with this whole gap to not gap. I really feel right now, and I'm looking at data and my feelings just a little bit. I am not a big fan of putting a gap. I know LinkedIn will be bringing this gap area to your profile of using that. Just like, believe it or not, I'm not a big fan of the whole open to work thing. I'm never that big circle around y'all. I don't know. I'm just not kind of feeling that right now. But companies had to take some time during the pandemic to reset and rethink how they're going to be successful, what they have to do differently, how they're going to keep staff, engaged and retained and recruited, and how they're going to change their infrastructure to work this ever changing workspace. So if companies are doing it, I think it's okay for the individual who had to, think about how they're going to re-engineer and reset, you understand, and reimagine what they're going to do, as long as it's strategic, on purpose, for sustainable, maintainable, and meaningful work. You all know those are my three favorite words. It just can't be, I just don't want to do this no more, and you have no plan. It needs to be a way where you are going to still be valuable to the ever-changing workforce. You might learn some great personal/professional skills during the gap. Maybe you have emotionally matured and developed, and grown in different areas. And then you can bring all of that back to the workplace when you're ready to return. But warning here, warning, as you heard me say, there's some data and there's some feelings involved in both of these. You might work for a place that ain't feeling all of that. And that's just the way it is. However, if you are true to yourself and you know why you're doing the move, understand, don't just make a move without knowing why you're doing it, right? Don't count each move, make each move count. If you are someone that you have a strategic gap, absence from the workforce, need to explain it and how you're going to maximize it. Make sure again that it was well thought out before you do that. As much as I love this new world that we're in with all of these great job openings, and it's a candidate market at the time of me talking to you right now, and you'll see there are warning signs showing up all day that this is starting to shift. It's going to shift back to a nice balance like it was pre-pandemic. So don't get it twisted. You might get your feelings hurt, okay, if you're trying to do some things just because, oh, everyone else is doing it. I can just take a year off and do nothing without a plan. It might bite you in the bottissimo when you try to come back. So I want to make sure folks know this wonderful candidate-driven market is not going to last. Warning, I've been saying it for 6 months. It's not going to last. So make sure all the things you do, all your moves are totally strategic. Okay. That's what I have to say. So again, tcenow.com is how you find us everywhere. You can't miss us. And we're Googleable. Francina Harrison, the career engineer. You can find me everywhere. And make sure you, again, subscribe here, like us, follow us, all that kind of good stuff. We try to bring you some fresh content on Mondays on the platform you're watching from. And if you are on my YouTube, make sure you definitely subscribe to our YouTube, because we do some things sometimes really special on YouTube that we don't necessarily do on the other spaces. I'm just saying. Okay. So listen, y'all have a wonderful, fantastic week. And remember, don't get anxious, get prepared. And I look forward to seeing you next time. All right. Be blessed, stay safe, and don't get anxious. Always be prepared.